Tobago's funeral home, where we celebrate life's precious moments. From the moment you enter our doors, you're met with kindness and care. Our reception area is designed to be more than just a waiting room. It is a place of calm, thoughtfully created to ease the weight of grief. In our private conference room, conversations are guided by empathy. Here, our client experience coordinators sit beside you, not just across the table to help plan a service that truly reflects your loved one's story. Whether it's a traditional farewell or a personalized celebration of life, we take time to understand your wishes and offer thoughtful guidance. At the heart of our organization is a dedicated manager who ensures that everything runs smoothly, from the smallest detail to the final farewell. We understand that choosing a casket or a coffin is a deeply personal decision. In our selection room, we provide a calm, respectful environment where families can take their time and explore options that reflect their loved one's life, beliefs, and preference. Our spacious chapel is where memories are honored and lives are celebrated. Designed with serenity and warmth, it provides a welcoming space for families and friends to come together in reflection and remembrance. For families choosing cremation, we offer on-site professional cremation services in a setting that upholds dignity, peace, and confidentiality. Our crematorium offers a seamless and respectful alternative to traditional burial, giving families flexibility while maintaining the highest standard of care.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Good morning and welcome back to Youth Wednesdays on the Tobago Updates Morning Show. You're viewing us here live in Portmore, Scarborough, Tobago. Yes, my name is Dwayne, and yet we are here to bring you the youthful vibe, youthful vigor on your Wet Wednesday this morning. This morning is a morning with a difference, of course, because I am not smack center in the middle of two beautiful ladies this morning, but I am I'm sharing the platform this morning with two distinguished men as we are celebrating International Men's Day this morning. And for the entire month. I think men should be celebrated. But before we get into that, I just want to say a special good morning to our ardent viewers, wherever you're viewing us in the world. We want to say a special good morning to you, wherever you're viewing us, whether it be on channel 102 on AMPLIA, Digicel, Flow, Facebook, YouTube. Oof, it's a lot. But this morning, I want to introduce to you one of my good co-hosts. Good morning to you. Please introduce yourself.
All right, thanks, Dwayne. My name is Edison Thomas.
Yes, certainly no stranger.
No stranger to the show. Good being back to the studio.
Yes.
A lot of memories. Met a lot of good people in this studio. But it's wonderful to be here and to be co-hosting with you this morning.
Yes, man, the pleasure is all mine.
And you're looking sharp today.
Well, I try not to, you're looking sharp yourself and you're great. I love the tie, man. Love the tie. But we have one more person to introduce. I am not quite familiar with this gentleman. I was quite surprised to see him here, but he's quite young. Good morning to you, sir.
Good morning. I'm Tinashe Greenwich.
Tinashe?
Yes.
Yes, I don't want to butcher your name because we're celebrating men this morning, no? Right? So it's a pleasure to have you. I presume that you'll be reading on news in 90 seconds this morning.
Yes, I will.
Yes. Your face looks familiar. We'll talk after. But before we get into everything, we're going to go straight over to news in 90 seconds with Mr. Tinashe.
Good morning, I am Tinashe Greenwich, and here's what making your news in 90 seconds for Wednesday, November 19, 2025. The Trinidad and Tobago Inter-Island Transportation Company has advised the traveling public of major adjustment to the service schedules for later this week, as the T&T spur will be pulled from the sea bridge. TTIT says the vessel will be withdrawn from Thursday, November 20th, and Friday, November 21st, 2025, to facilitate emergency engine repairs. In the Spirit absence, the Galleon Passage will operate in its place. However, due to the Galleon Passage capacity to carry a fewer vessels, some motorists may have to reschedule to further sailings. Cargo operations, however, remains uninterrupted. The amended scheduled for November 20th and 21st are as follows. From Trinidad, Port of Spain, 4 p.m. Boco Reef, 5:30 a.m. Galleon Passage, replacing the T&T Spirit. From Tobago, Scarborough, 6:30 a.m. Boco Reef, 3:30 p.m. Galleon Passage, replacing the T&T Spirit. The TTIT is urging all travelers to take notes on the temporary changes and plan accordingly. And in some news of politics, last night the People National Movement continued its nightly town hall meetings at the Castor Community Center, revealing local farmer McLeon Roberts as the chosen candidate for the Palativia Landsfamy Speyside Electoral District. Addressing supporters gathered at the center, Roberts, who is a known political activist, said he had experienced firsthand the plight of farmers across the island and gave the assurance that under the People's National Movement, he would support the agriculture industry with a strong focus on developing the people's food basket. Tomorrow, the party moved to the Calder Hall district. Meanwhile, following the completion of its screening process yesterday, supporters eagerly await the announcements and reveal of selected candidates by the Tobago People's Party. Last week, the party political leader Farley Augustine promised the announcement by the middle of this week. And finally, in a move that has sent shockwave through the carnival and entertainment fraternity, Prime Minister Kamala Persad-Bissessar has ordered an immediate halt to most fetes at both the Hasley Crawford Stadium and the Jean Pierre Complex. The new policy bars all parties and familiar events at the two major facilities, with the expectation of the carnival period. Organizers will still be allowed to host events from the Thursday before Carnival Monday and Tuesday until Saturday after the festivities end. The PM also announced tighter rules for any fete held at venues controlled by the Ministry of Sports, adding that event must now start no earlier than noon and end by 10 p.m., a move aimed at reducing late-night noise for nearby residents. Additionally, the National Carnival Commission will now be required to hire qualified acoustic engineering to design and manage sound system at all its events, ensuring noise and vibrations are kept to a minimum. Prasad Bisesa says the decision is part of the government effort to strike a balance between cultural celebration and community peace, noting the goal is to protect tradition while respecting the rights of citizens. These stories and more in your major newscast at 6:30 p.m. Be viewing Tobago Updates Television. And that was your news in 90 seconds.
Welcome back again. Thank you for news in 90 seconds, Mr. Greenidge. We have, we're here this morning to celebrate International Day of the Man. I want to ask you, my two gentlemen, distinguished gentlemen, when did you feel that you became a man? At what age you felt that you became a man?
That would have been, I want to say about 18, 19.
Yeah.
That would have been the first instance upon me leaving my parents' house.
Mm-hmm.
I went to Toronto to study.
Right.
And being out there on my own with the responsibilities and stuff, well, obviously the financial responsibilities and stuff, it weighed very heavy. And I saw it at the time as a precursor of things to come. So even at that early age, I really felt the responsibility of being a man.
Okay.
Yeah, I want to say 19.
Yeah. For me, I was a man a long time, right? I born mannish, right? I was mannish a long time. I remember when I was about probably 3 years old.
Mm-hmm.
My brother was just a baby, and I went to a wedding, and one of my family members picked up my brother, and I, being the man, was like, carry the child back to the mother, and be straight enough. And my aunt would always tell that story to just show how mannish I was. But when I became an actual man, of course, 18 years. But I think manhood, begins in the mind.
Mm-hmm.
When you are ushered into manhood by your father, firstly, I'm a strong advocate for that. And you can't be a man without having men in your life ushering you into manhood, because you ain't walk the road yet, start.
True.
True. Man? Mr. Greenidge, what about you?
Well, I still live under my parents' roof and still go to school, so
Right.
I haven't felt the responsibilities of being a man. But if there were one thing or one key feature that made me feel like I have the responsibility of being a man, is to take serious the responsibilities of doing my schoolwork.
Okay, all right.
Education
You're
important.
preparing the way for greater things, yes, through education. That's good. But what has been happening in this space? I mean, we've been hearing a lot of braha about, the Prime Minister's decision to, segue from using particular venues, especially those stadiums, for big events. And the premise on which he's doing so is because of the noise pollution, and people in the communities are complaining about. What do you make of that? Do you think it's a good idea? Do you think it should be more tailor-made? What do you think?
Certainly, I wouldn't like to be the Prime Minister, because you don't want to come between Trinis and the Carnival and the Fetting, right? But obviously, she has a very important decision to make with balancing the noise pollution, as you said. She also has to balance the maintenance of these facilities that comes up to the millions of dollars per year.
Right.
That comes up to the government. So I would say it's a 50-50 move, I would say. But yeah, the balance needs to be struck, because Trinis love the entertainment, right? Trinbagonians.
True. What about you, Mr. Greenidge? We have but a short time.
Well, yes, I've been in a program about sustainability, so I know a lot about noise pollution. So I think this initiative is good that the Prime Minister is doing.
All right. So, guys, we're gonna go straight over to our rundown this morning, and I'll ask. Oh, sorry, my humblest apologies. I jumped the gun there in excitement. So we have birthdays this morning. We're gonna go straight over to our birthdays, and I'm gonna ask my co-host to help me out. First, we have Miss Nikisha Morgan. Oh, beautiful lady here. Happy birthday,
Happy birthday,
Nikisha. All right, you sound like you know Nikisha.
No, I don't know Nikisha.
All right,
but have a good one and a great one.
Yes. Who do we have next? Oh, is this Nikisha? All right. So we have Mr. Roldan Reed. Good morning and happy birthday goes out to you from the Tobago Updates family.
And happy International Men's Day to you as well.
Yes, my brother. Yes. Don't be afraid to drop by some drinks. For Edison and I and Mr. Greenidge.
Yeah, we're gonna drink something.
You could put some for the producer too. He like to put something. He like to put liquids in his mouth.
Right.
So send some drinks there for me. Right. Up next we have Nayo turning 13 years old today. And this birthday greeting is coming from your mom and dad. Right, wow, she doesn't even look 13.
You understand?
Yeah, these children these days just growing up fast and fast.
So fast.
Yeah. So happy birthday goes out to you, Nayo. And we want to wish you on your very best on your 13th birthday. And send a piece of cake for us, though. And enjoy your day to the fullest. Who do we have next?
And that's it.
We have don't rush the brush this morning, guys. We're still celebrating birthdays. We have Leslie-Ann. No. We have Miss birthday greetings going on to the 80th birthday of Miss Roberta Wills. Or AKA Taba. You know her?
Not sure.
Okay. She's the harmonica lady, known as the harmonica lady. Just wishing you the best here from us on YouTube Wednesdays and Tobago Updates and God's richest blessings.
80 years is no joke. That's a milestone.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, Roberta looking.
She's not even looking 80.
Yes, and I love the color blue. She wearing the best color there.
Yes.
The best color there. So she wearing the best color there. So if that is not all, this is it for birthdays this morning. We want to wish you, those celebrants, a happy birthday again. And for those of you who didn't make it on our list, we want to still wish you a happy birthday. So we'll go straight over to our rundown this morning. Now we have quite a bit of excitement for you guys as we are celebrating International Men's Day. And I will do one, you do one, So first on our list, we are going to be speaking with the president of the Fathers Association, Mr. Rondell Fields, coming to discuss with us problems men face in society. What a pertinent topic. What do we have next?
We also will be joined by Mr. Julian Skeet, the Administrator of Food Security, Natural Resources, the Environment and Sustainable Development, to speak about men as leaders in the workplace.
Oh yeah. And finally, last but not least, we have to talk about men's health, and who other to do this other than Brother Diamond Andrews, the renowned dietitian. Right, so we have to have Brother Andrews here. But so that's it for our rundown. Right, just remember up next we will be speaking with Mr. Rondell Fields, President of the Fathers Association, to discuss with us problems men face in society. We definitely look forward with you joining us, and remember to share the life.
We waiting so long, the people missed the bacchanal. Tobago. The countdown is on for Tobago Day 2025. From November 27th to December 6th, the island comes alive under the theme One Tobago, One People, One Destiny.
The celebration begins with the Tobago Torch Run, led by the Chief Secretary, Assemblyman, and our proud sporting groups.
Then, on November 28th, the THA Triathlon takes center stage. On November 29th, we all head to the Shore Park Recreational Grounds for the Tobago Games, Sports and Family Day, games we used to play from 6 p.m.
Join us on December 2nd for the Thanksgiving Harvest Service at the Shore Park Complex from 10 a.m.
Bring your Tobago produce, share your blessings, and celebrate community. Then, December 3rd and 4th, discover our roots on the Scarborough Heritage Bus Tours. 2 daily departures at 9 a.m. and 1 p.m.
On December 4th, witness excellence at the Tobago Day debate beginning at 10 a.m. at the Assembly Legislature.
And the Tobago Day Awards ceremony, 7 p.m. at the Shore Park Complex.
And for the grand finale,
December 6th, the cultural concert and drone show lights up the Scarborough Esplanade from 7 p.m. It's all about Tobago Day 2025. One Tobago, one people, one destiny.
This is how it's gonna go. They better look up and look, 'cause this is your show, and everybody's gonna know. Say it to them once again. They better look up and look. This is your show, and everybody's gonna know. That's how it's gonna go. They better look up below, 'cause this is your show.
Welcome to Tobago Glass Supplies Limited, where innovation meets excellence and service reigns supreme. Our commitment is simple: to provide high-quality, innovative aluminum, vinyl, and glass solutions for both commercial and residential spaces. At TGSL, we don't just meet needs, we exceed expectations. Our range includes the finest aluminum cladding options, setting new standards in durability and style. Driven by our passion to elevate, we aim to be the leading supplier in the Caribbean market while retaining our identity as a family-owned business. Because at Tobago Glass Supplies Limited, it's not just about products. It's about relationships, it's about you. Innovation, quality, service. That's Tobago Glass Supplies Limited.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Welcome back to Youth Wednesdays on Tobago Updates Morning Show. You're viewing us here live in Portmore, Scarborough, Tobago. This is International Men's Day, and we are discussing with Mr. Rondell Fields, President of the Fathers Association, what are some of the social issues men face in society. Good morning and welcome to you.
Morning. Thanks for having me.
All right. I'll also be joined by my co-host here, Brother Edison. So this is a very packed morning for you guys. So just remember to share the live and share the live and share the live. Right. So Mr. Fields, for the purpose of the viewers who may not know who you are, just just give a little background and just tell us how did you get into this side of the vineyard, being a man.
This arena.
Yeah.
Boy. Well, I mean, I am Rondell Fields. I'm the founder of the Fathers Association in Trinidad and Tobago. Really and truly, people may think I might have done some type of study in social work and these kind of things as the furthest from the truth. But as you rightfully say, I'm a man. And at the end of the day, I got into this. I'm a businessman rather, as well. And I got into this out of the experience I had in my life. And I mean, when I say experience in my life, I'm not talking only about when I became a man. I'm talking about from childhood. I had always purposed to be the best version of a father that I could be. And when I became a man, and I saw the very system itself try to take that from me, I was willing to stand against that very system. And I think if that is not the definition of manhood, nothing is. Because I think it's about being able to say the right thing, even in uncomfortable places. And I can tell you, I've been in many uncomfortable space saying the right thing and disturbing a lot of people when I say it. So be it. And I think that primarily more than anything else. I mean, I must say, and this International Men's Day is a special one for me per se, because this is the first International Men's Day that my son will be celebrating as an adult. The very same son that I started the Single Fathers Association at Trinidad and Tobago for. He was 4 years old at the time. He's 18 years old this year. So that should tell you. So this one is a particularly important one for me because he is a man. And to now look back at the 14 years of advocacy while he was a boy growing up and seeing a lot of it now, him growing with it, seeing the type of young man he has become as well. I can at least say, boy, I feel I've found some joy and some treasure and some reward that I was able to live a life that he could say, hey, you know, when there's something worthy to stand for, when there's something just to stand for, as a man, I must stand for it.
And I must say, what an example you have set for your son. Because I look on, and I must say I appreciate the work that you do, right? I've told you before on occasion. But I always see Mr. Fee is one of the busiest men in Trinidad and Tobago. Sometimes I don't even know how you do it, right? Because seeing you promote your business, seeing you do the work with the NGO, the different boards and different things like that, really and truly a productive male and a good example. So I know that your son benefits from that, right? But I want to get into some of the meat of the situation. You drop a bombshell on the country just a few weeks ago when you revealed some of the aspects of paternity testing.
1 in 3 men, man.
Yes, one in three men, which I was quite surprised. I was watching it live and my mouth dropped. I was at work and my mouth dropped. What has been some of the feedback you have been getting since you have dropped that news to the nation?
Well, the bomb was on the ground, you know. I just saw everybody it was there. The bomb was exploding all the time. You understand? So, I mean, it's been good feedback. 90% of it. I know I'm always expectant of the 10% naysayers, but 90% of it from men and women, because some women, they understand that this impacts them as well. You understand? If you're a grandmother, you're an aunt, this impacts you as well, right? So the feedback generally has been good. We met with the AG last week as well. I would say we had a promising meeting with him. The last Chief Justice that was there, we wrote to him. The lab sent the statistic to him and the AG as well. And I know before he left, there was some works already taking place for us with them, and I'm hoping that it will continue under this new AG as well. I'm very hopeful, and I'm sort of confident that it will, because I think globally we've seen this happen. I think with the genesis of all these paternity court shows and shows like Maury and since back up for the last decade or so, people realize that we have an issue, we have a challenge, and that a number of fathers have been misidentified. And this needs to be rectified, because, I mean, you're talking about, this isn't just about the legal issue where it comes to a man going to jail or being in prison for a child that is not his. Of course, that is critical and important, but we're talking about other issues when it comes to financial.
Correct.
When a man leaves his assets and his goods, or even sometimes an heirloom that was handed down generation from generation. Are you continuing the passage through the generation? Then we're talking about, when they talk about health care as well. When you go to the doctor, one of the first things they always ask about hereditary diseases and these things. I mean, how can you really give an honest and a true report? And sometimes that is the time you find out that is not your father. We're in an age where we're talking about DNA, ancestry being traced. Sometimes adults now finding out that their father was never their father because they decided to go and do a DNA ancestry test. So in an age where we are faced with a society where paternity testing is a lot more available, a lot more affordable, and is all over the place. It's time that we have things in our system to treat with misidentification of paternity.
Social issues about men. And you were talking about this article that was dropped by you. 1 in 3 men. How has your organization advocated for these men, who fell victim and fell prey to this issue affecting men? Because as you would understand, as them old people used to say, you have a lot of men minding cat and bag and right?
Jamaicans call it jacket.
Jacket. We just say jacket too. So how has your organization, advocated for this this thing to be rectified on all its levels?
We've gone as far to the Joint Select Committee, and that's why we went to do the quantitative analysis.
Right.
Because since 2018, with the evidence we presented to the Joint Select Committee of Parliament, we got the Joint Select Committee at that point to agree with us, and not only agree with us, to recommend an amendment of the law by the Attorney General's office from 2018. And from 2018 to 2025, you could say 2026 already, it's about 8 years, nothing has been done.
Right.
Yeah.
So we have seen the proliferation of this behavior since 2013, when we identified our first case. We got to 2018, where we got before a Joint Select Committee. That's 5 years of advocacy. Got them to agree. So then 8 years again, nearly 8 years now, and still no real meaningful change. And that is why we decided we are going to go to the lab and we are going to do that test in a lab and show what the quantitative figures look like.
Right.
And I saw some people try to punch holes in the fact that we used a lab and spoke about if you go to a lab, the persons who would have gone to a lab would have been suspicious, so it may skew the statistics. And I rubbish it. I rubbished it already, but I rubbish it because unlike maternity, the only way you can confirm paternity is through DNA testing. That is the only legitimate way you can confirm paternity. The mother bears the child, so it's easy to find out who's the mother, right?
Okay.
But with the man, the way that we have legally in our system right now, paternity is presumptuous more than anything else. So it's presumptive. It's you're married to the lady, every child she makes is yours. And I can tell you, we've dealt with a man who was on the outside and wanted to be involved with his child, and it was his child. So that was never the husband child. Right? Then also, once you sign the birth paper, you are also the father.
Paternity.
And most of the cases that we deal with are men who've signed the birth paper, men who've gone to the court, some of them, and they were tested and were not the fathers of the children. So we realized that there's flaws in the presumptive way. And we had to realize the drafting of this legislation was at a time where most likely DNA testing was not available.
Correct.
You understand? So at that point, how else do you identify a father? You ask him if you are the father, he goes on what he's told by the mother, and either he signed the birth paper or he knows this is his wife.
So my question to you, I just have one more question.
Go ahead.
My question to you is, I was in church some months ago, and we were doing some men talks, man. And one of the statements that I posed the question to the church, especially to the ladies. Men are silent because women make them so. Right? And more than that, I was of the view, I'm still of the view, that men are not the only problems to themselves, but women are as well. In relation to what we are discussing now, right? What do you find any merit in those two perspectives, right? And how do you marry the two, right? Based on what we're discussing right now.
Of course there's merit to what you say. People wouldn't like to hear you say it, but of course there's merit to what you say. And proof of that is, do we create spaces for men to speak freely? So we often hear the complaint of men not wanting to show their emotions, men not wanting to speak. But I always tell people that's the biggest lie on planet Earth. Why do they find me to speak to me from all over Trinidad and Tobago? It is because they've listened to what I've said, And even though it is not an infrastructural place, have created an environment that they believe that they will be heard.
Yeah, and I think I want to add to what you're saying. Men will be silent with issues like these when they speak. There's no action because when women speak and they share, they see some action.
Correct.
Right.
Quick
Correct.
action.
Yeah.
So we've created a society that doesn't cater to men. We've created a society that's put men out of a space. And if you put them out of a space to speak, they won't speak comfortably. Today, you say we celebrate what? International Men's Day. But is it internationally celebrated?
No,
The United Nations, which is one of the most powerful international bodies, does not recognize International Men's Day. They recognize International Women's Day. But on their calendar for the United Nations, today they are celebrating World Day of the Toilet. And I am putting it out in Trinidad and Tobago right now. I come in for that. That must change. And it will change. Even if it's right here alone. I am telling the United Nations, listen to Randall Field voice, you know, and people who know when I speak. You understand? We are coming for that. That is the most blatant disrespect to manhood. You are the biggest advocates for gender equality across the world and for peace. And on a day like International Men's Day that has been around 26 years, founded by a Trinidadian as well, which have made even more livid. Dr. Jerome Tilok Singh, you are aware of the day, yet you decide after long after the 26 years of its inauguration, that you would select World Day of the Toilet on the very same day. Don't tell me that is by chance. You understand? And I am telling to those representatives of the United Nations in Trinidad and Tobago and across the region, women are coming for that.
Mr. Fields, one of the greatest roles in everything I've accomplished in this life, I would say the biggest role that I have is that of a father.
Great.
And, but as I brought up time and time again, sometimes you feel like you're doing this not being assisted, but in spite of the challenges that you get coming from society, coming from the systems.
Pressures.
Right? Coming from the pressures, right? The thing is, I want to go to this thing of paternity leave.
Lovely.
Which is very pertinent to me because again, I'm a father. I experienced it once when I had my first child. And I have a child expecting a child next year. And
doing great things.
We're gonna have something similar, a similar situation almost
to be here.
almost 5 years on. We're having a similar situation.
Correct.
I know that you would have done some work with the Joint Select Committee regarding this. What were some of the things that came out of that?
Same thing again. 2018, we brought it up in the Joint Select Committee, and the information was that the CPO, understand, there is a CPO directive that gives only men that are permanently employed in the public service, 2 to 3 days. So firstly, there's no legislation. It's a policy directive that is developed by boards or the companies, the owner of the company. So there's no legislative work that a man must even get paternity leave in the first place. Now, public service, if you're getting it and you're permanent, it will be 2 to 3 days. And if you're a contract, you're not supposed to get it. Right? This is something that we brought up because it is a significant value for a man to be involved in the prenatal stage and immediate postnatal stage of his child's life. We can't tell a man to step up if we don't give him things in our system to step on. I always say so. Right? If you speak to women also, women who've had children have always been the biggest advocates for paternity leave, those who have men around them. You understand? They speak, we have some men who wives have postpartum depression. We have some men whose wives had C-sections, had surgeries that nearly took their life, these kind of things. We have some men whose wives died giving birth.
And we have autistic children as well.
Of course.
Yes.
So the children, and it's a rightful point, differently able children that require more assistance, more help, that have more task, as a greater task at the immediate stage. particularly when it's new parents they're dealing with. And it's, to me, totally unfair that a man pays national insurance contributions in the same amount as his female co-worker. Yet when his maternity leave, she gets to leave, and he cannot be home for his wife.
Yeah. And she gets compensated for it.
Correct, and she gets compensated. You understand? That is a total travesty. That is presenting all the inequities in the work policy that we say don't exist, with men being on the losing end. That is one of the greatest things as paternity leave, and the disadvantage that a male parent has. And then we have the audacity as leaders in society who take podiums. And that's why I blast some of them. The prime ministers, the presidents, the ministers. It's a popular thing to always pull up on a stage on Father's Day and say, fathers step up. But you give fathers anything to step on? When a man comes and asks for access to his child in the court, right? And you tell him that he should have every other weekend, which is 4 days for the month. If he was a man living in the house and coming home for 4 days to help the woman, he would have been viewed a good man.
Deadbeat.
So you and your system keeps men away from children.
And we're fostering the toxicity in terms of the imbalance between...
Let me show you some more in the healthcare system. I've learned when I came up to the Tobago House Assembly for this special sitting that is different here, or at least supposed to be different here. I hope it really is. Men in Trinidad, I remember in 2013 or 14 thereabout, we were able to convince the then Minister Fuad Khan was the health minister, to allow men the opportunity to go and see the birth of their children. And he started doing so. And when men got that opportunity to do that, the Nursing Association, a merry band of them, held a protest and said they were against that because men will come into the room and look at other women's private part.
What?
And it was discontinued just because of that suggestion. And that speaks to how we look at men in our society. Many women would say, boy, I wanted my husband. The only place it happens is at private institutions. They want, if it is to happen in the public institution, they're telling you, come Lamas and come for this session. And many times men say, are we getting off work?
Can't get time.
Are we getting off work to come on a Wednesday? It was on a Wednesday at a point in time. Sometimes it's not even, I can tell in my experience, my son's mom, it was she couldn't get off work. So sometimes the couple cannot get off work to perform in the Lamas class, and they don't give the opportunity. You don't give the man an experience to support the wife or support his partner, and you don't give him the experience to bond.
With his newborn.
You have to remember the woman from the prenatal stage, the child is inside of her, and the man tries to live vicariously through her. You understand? And these little sentiments are important and long-lasting in a man's memory, as into the type of way he's going to father as well.
So we're just about almost, we're tongue to crunch time.
No problem.
But I don't understand why they give us such a short time. But
we should bring him back home.
I have one last question for you, and I guess Edison will do the closing question. What is next for the Fathers Association? Because it's very important that in Trinidad and Tobago, we foster an environment where, the family is upheld. And we can't do that without the men. What is next? Should they take another 8 years? Or if it seems as if they're going to take another 8 years to implement and adjust the Constitution and the laws to reflect the inclusion of men and the protection of men as well, as it pertains to paternity? What are your thoughts?
I mean, I am hopeful it doesn't take that long. But I mean, what I am going to say is that our next move is to motivate men to stand for themselves. This is what we had to do as men. We had to be able to be, I always believe in proactivity, but we're in a situation here now where we have to balance proactivity and also be reactive, because we have a current problem that needs addressing. And we as men need to be able to stand up. We need to be able to lend our voices in a united fashion. And that's one thing I admire about women. They're able to do so. And we, as I said in the beginning, we must be able to speak confidently in uncomfortable spaces. That is what we need to learn to do.
And I must say, and I just want to take this opportunity just to shout, to plead with the Division of Health. Please. Right? We want a waiting room for the men in maternity ward, please.
I second that.
We don't want to sit down on the bench outside anymore.
Outside, they say.
Outside of the maternity ward, we need a waiting room. If it's just a couch, right? But we need that waiting room. Dr. Faith, I'm begging you, please, thanks.
Yes, certainly. And if you can't stomach it, you just don't go. It's just that simple. Leave it for the real men, right? Like Brother Edison and myself. Right. So that's it for this interview this morning. Up next, we have Administrator in the Division of Food Security, Mr. Julian Skeet. Just remember to share the live. We'll be right back.
Our world is filled with rhythm. Rhythm that's unapologetic, infectious, timeless. Rhythm is commitment in action. It's how we show up for each other with unrelenting support that goes the distance. Rhythm lives in the tiny beats of our most intimate moments and the seismic roars of our biggest achievements. Rhythm is resilience in motion. So even when things go out of sync, we do what it takes to bring the rhythm back. At Flow, we understand your rhythm because we live it. That's why we're dedicated to building a network as resilient as you, with a team of familiar faces working every day to keep you on beat. You're at the heart of everything we do, and our commitment is to keep your rhythm flowing, no matter what.
Quartz is well known as the Caribbean's largest retailer, providing consumers for generations with the very best products to enhance their homes. This year, we bring our expertise to businesses. Quartz Business Solutions will serve small, medium, and large companies with the very best products at the most competitive prices, backed by warranties and after-sales support. Hoteliers, office managers, restaurants, and so many more. Quartz Business Solutions, a brand of the Unicomer Group.
Who said the elderly can't have fun too? We're talking good food, proper music, lots of games, and a day at the beach they will never forget. From the time we left the compound at Heavenly Care Home for the Elderly, the vibe was already established. Wheels up and seatbelts on. Watch now, when we touched down in Pigeon Point, everybody was ready for excitement. But before anything could take place, we had to secure our bellies. You ever play bingo by the beachside? Well, that was the first activity on the roster, and boy did these seniors have fun. However, others wanted something more physical, so we brought out the ring toss, and not even arthritis could have stopped them. Well, I was blown away at how straight these people were. Are you sure this is a home for the elderly? Nothing beats a Jet 2 holiday, but nothing beats the song of Good Steel Pan by the shores while we take a dip in Tobago's finest water. Wait, more food again? This is my type of event. The energy was amazing and nothing short of a blessing. Pick up Heavenly Care Home for the Elderly, because joy doesn't retire, laughter doesn't age, and memories like these last forever.
To a stranger, we waiting so long, the people miss the bacchanal. Tobago. The countdown is on for Tobago Day 2025. From November 27th to December 6th, the island comes alive under the theme One Tobago, One People, One Destiny.
The celebration begins with the Tobago Torch Run, led by the Chief Secretary, Assemblyman, and our proud sporting groups.
Then, on November 28th, the THA Triathlon takes center stage. On November 29th, we all head to the Shore Park Recreational Grounds for the Tobago Games games, sports, and family day, games we used to play from 6 p.m.
Join us on December 2nd for the Thanksgiving Harvest Service at the Shore Park Complex from 10 a.m.
Bring your Tobago produce, share your blessings, and celebrate community. Then, December 3rd and 4th, discover our roots on the Scarborough Heritage Bus Tours. 2 daily departures at 9 a.m. and 1 p.m.
On December 4th, witness excellence at the Tobago Day debate beginning at 10 a.m. at the Assembly Legislature.
And the Tobago Day Awards ceremony, 7 p.m. at the Shore Park Complex. And for the grand finale, December 6th, the cultural concert and drone show lights up the Scarborough Esplanade from 7 p.m. It's all about Tobago Day 2025. One Tobago, one people, one destiny.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
And we're back on this wonderful International Men's Day. And we are continuing with the program. And we have on set with us Mr. Julian Skeet, Administrator of the Division of Food Security, Natural Resources, the Environment and Sustainable Development, talking about men as leaders in the workplace. Good morning, Mr. Skeet.
Good morning.
Of course, Mr. Skeet is no stranger to the Tobago Update Studio.
We have actually 3 hosts on set this morning. Then.
Hey, watch, we didn't even plan this. It just happened in that way this morning. No, 3 hosts in different dispensations. Thank you for joining us, Mr. Skeet, and happy International Men's Day to you.
Thank you very much for having me, and
How
I
you
say
feeling
happy
this morning?
International Men's Day to you all as well.
Thank you very much.
I mean, it's a good feeling. It's a good feeling to know that there's an opportunity where, I like to tell persons, we start by celebrating ourselves first and foremost before anybody else has the opportunity to even recognize us. So it's a good feeling for International Men's Day, and that more importantly, I'm happy to see that Tobago Updates is following through and ensuring. I looked on over the course of the week and seeing men in focus. So it's an excellent opportunity. And then when you get invited on the day that's Youth Wednesday, you say thank you very much.
No, we still see you as a youth. Whether you're young or young at heart, you're still a youth. So men as leaders in the workplace, we more or less see a lot of men rising through the ranks in public and private sector, yourself included, becoming an administrator, I want to say, what, this year?
This would have been 24.
Yeah.
Yes.
2024, last year. Okay. How has that experience been for you at that, and leading a division?
Well, I think, the experience has been a humbling one. And I use the term intentionally because, I always tell persons, if you had asked me up to, over 10 or 12 years ago when I started in the service, if it is, you'd have ever seen yourself in a position like this, I might tell you off the bat, not particularly interested in that level of stress. Not necessarily looking at it from the perspective of what you might be able to do to help, but just thinking of all those that I've worked with over the years, in the division, the changes, XYZ, and seeing the volumes of the work involved. So it was really a humbling experience. And I must say, having, being in the responsibility now, I am grateful, very grateful for the time I have had working along with particular persons who I felt contributed to shaping who I am, as a young man in leadership at this point. And interesting enough, I'd always used the analogy, and it is what I do now, even as part of leading. Sometimes leaders are required to help you bring out that potential. that
See
you
that again.
won't necessarily see for yourself. And I remember there were times when I got upset with my boss. And you know, I could call him out by name because I'm very thankful for the contribution he has made to date. He's now a permanent secretary, Erland Kent. Those days in youth, and he have us under pressure and so on. But you live to grow for it and to appreciate what you were being taught, you know, and he's one among others that have certainly made that contribution in terms of grooming. And ladies, forgive me, I prefer to focus on the men for today.
Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Oh, okay. And you touch on mentorship. And I believe as a man going through society, especially if you want to become a leader, mentorship is very important. Supporting, surrounding, yourself with men of caliber, good caliber. How important has that played in your life as a leader, coming to be a leader now?
Yeah, and I think, you know, that's another area. It remains very critical. Whether it is done in a formal or informal way, it's important for us to recognize that that's a significant part of who we are, because learning and being mentored is not always one of the realities I've come to is that it's not always done in a formal structure to say, all right, I am officially looking on at you, good sir, you are my mentor, and then the mentor says, well, you are my mentee, and we're working together on this. No, it doesn't always work like that, and it is for that reason wherever I operate at this point, I always make the point that I may not be perfect, but I most certainly have been blessed with good qualities that you can feel free to emulate, feel free to look at. And why I make that point is because very early on, I remember in my early years, you know, watching a movie, and I'd read about it as well. And I remember it conveying the scenario where you had someone in a very formal kind of interaction with a mentor-mentee kind of relationship. And unfortunately, you know, while that person had done nine other good things in this life, one thing came as an error and as a shortcoming of the individual. And interesting enough, it baffled me, and sometimes that's the reality of the world that we live in, that one could not appreciate anymore all the significant contributions that an individual had made and all the other good qualities because someone would have failed in a particular area. So I am ever conscious of the fact I hold a kind of different view. There is no perfect person out there, but what is important is that we continually strive to do good in terms of what we do, and where there are things that you believe you can emulate, I am happy to provide that support along the way.
And that's very good. That's a very good way to look at things and, you know, accepting failure. And we need to be a more forgiving society, especially when men are concerned. We are very unforgiving towards men. I try to be a very avid reader of the Bible, and the word says that he that ought to be the greatest among you should be a servant first.
Yes.
How does this translate to leadership, right? And especially where you, you're quite involved in youth development. You're quite involved in you know, a lot of things, Mr. Skeet. How does that, you know, translate to your life and others know that you're at the helm of leadership?
Well, I think when you start off with that clear understanding of you know, is important to even know and understand following before one can lead. It allows you to lead with the understanding that I am prepared to also be on the ground. So I will tell you in some instances, you know, when I took up this responsibility, and similar to that to other senior responsibilities I've held over time, I'm very hands-on. So I have never been that kind of person that will just sit at the helm. We discuss, we deliberate, we decide, and I hope for the best in terms of the outcome. I've always been that one. I have no challenge at all. Throwing off the jacket, pull on a short pants, drop in, see what's happening, random times, random hours, and we're on the ground and we're pushing and we in that grind. And I think why that is important along the way, and I think, you know, doing that, it has contributed to my style in terms of leadership and how I have been able to grow and develop, is because I saw where that allowed me, notwithstanding at that time that I had the responsibility for a team and for a unit and a section within the division, that my teammates and my colleagues, as I would often refer to them, they were willing to work and to go above and beyond because they felt like the team lead was a part of what we were doing. You know, and notwithstanding the fact that as I've taken on this responsibility now, which certainly the volume of work is more, I still try to ensure that that is integrated. So I am not the type that only sits and waits for heads to come to my desk and in my office. Occasionally, I will drop in on them in their very own office, right in their space and in their section. And that's just my style. And I like to say that everybody has their own style of operating. And that's one of the things that I believe has worked for me in terms of engaging, in terms of relating. And then one of the things I'm ever mindful of that I've learned from very young, as my parents have taught me, my mother, may her soul rest in peace, at the end of the day, we have different levels of responsibilities at different points in life. But it doesn't make you better than or less than anybody else. So always remember that. Keep grounded for the fact that it doesn't make you better than or less than anybody else. You may be privileged to have an opportunity, a responsibility or a position at particular points in life, but that will not be your position forever. So ensure that people don't only connect to your position, but people are able to respect and connect to who you are. So whether or not I'm administrator, whether or not I hold another position, I am able to relate to people because we have a relationship with Julian Skeet.
Yes. And my final question to you, before we wrap up, is that servant leadership, especially to our young men coming up. This generation wants everything now and fast. They want to be the boss now. What advice would you give to them? And even men, who are poised for leadership, how would you see that servant leadership is quite important? And does one precede the other?
I want to remind in particular, young persons in general and our young men, that when you make a decision, and you are heading in that direction, in fact, you don't even have to make the decision. Life will normally or will naturally transcend in such a way that as a man and as a young man along that journey and pathway, you're required to take on responsibility. And I want us to understand that responsibility doesn't only come when I take on a leadership position. That responsibility starts from your very engagement, whether it is as a young person, you're on the football side and you're among your team, you're on the block and you're influencing your peers, you're in the church and you're interacting with your colleagues, or you enter the workspace and you now have a designated responsibility, or in fact, the very start of it, you decide to take that responsible step and have young ones, and therefore you have that responsibility in the context of your family as well. It is a gentle reminder that leadership should not only be seen in the context of positions, but understand that there are those out there who ultimately look for that care, look for that support. And if you can be a leader to them, you are in a sense making your contribution. Recognize the influence that you have, whether it be formal or informal, and strive to do your very best, no matter the circumstances. And as I mentioned before, I'm always reiterating it. Always remember, you're not better than or you're not less than. You are charged with a responsibility at a given time, and always strive to do it to the best of your ability.
As you touch on the better than and less than, just want to sneak this in real quick. Leadership, sometimes as men, the egos are something that we have to be very, very precautious of, because sometimes the egos get in the way, when we're trying to discharge our responsibility, especially we're working with other leaders in this space. But that being said, I want to thank you so much, Mr. Skeet, for coming back once again. Tobago Updates is forever grateful every time you grace us with your presence, And just again, I want to wish you and extend to you happy International Men's Day.
I want to share a quick one with the ego. As you said that, it was a session I did a few years ago with Michael Stewart. And as he gently reminded, all men, we have an ego. I urge the ladies today on International Day and going forward. Some egos are larger than others, but we always prefer, if you stroke it, don't strike it. Don't strike our ego. Just stroke it gently.
I love that one.
So let me leave you with that.
I like to say protect it.
Yes. Just gently. Go gentle with us. Don't strike.
Yes. Thank you. You go ahead. Thank you so much, Mr. Skeet. On that note, we go to break now.
No.
We're wrapping up.
We're going to go over to have a brief discussion with Miss Rhea George as she does the Beneath the Surface segment. Good morning to you, Miss George. How are you?
Good morning to Dwayne. Good morning to Thomas and my good friend out there, Julian Skeet. Good morning to you, gentlemen.
Good morning. I know they were doing something when they brought Mr. George, Mr. Skeet on this morning.
Yes.
But I want to say, it might not be fitting for you, but I just want to say to you through your husband, Happy International Men's Day. I hope you convey my sentiments and my greetings to him.
Most certainly, and Happy International Men's Day to you three fine, upstanding young men. And I tell you, you really do set the bar high, and you set an excellent example for our young men out there.
Thank you so much.
Yes. So you know, at a time like this, it is a pleasure for me to see Rhea Richardson George.
What a reunion. What a reunion this morning.
Certainly. It has made International Men's Day even more, even greater for it. Because we know that Rhea is one of those that certainly, exemplifies that level of support and standing side by side. I can't miss the opportunity here with Oswald George. Good morning to you, good sir.
Yes.
Definitely.
So Miss George, Mrs. George, who do we have coming on to discuss this morning? Is it going to be a man? Is it going to be what?
No, not a man. And I know you all were hoping for maybe a male on set this morning for International Men's Day. But unfortunately, fortunately, it is our Deputy Chief Secretary and the Secretary for the Division of Health, Wellness and Social Protection, Assemblyman Dr. Faith Brebner. She is on the program with us this morning. And we're talking all things health related and, get some highs and lows, some of the accomplishments, achievements, the challenges, because we understand this is not an easy division to run, but she has been holding it down. She'll tell us more about it during Beneath the Surface this morning.
All right.
I hope we touch on men's health as well.
Yes. So thank you, Miss George. So guys, this brings us to the end of Youth Wednesdays on the Tobago Updates Morning Show. I want to thank Mr. Edison for joining us and all our hosts this morning, including Mr. Skeet, who closed off the show. Mr. Edison, we have to do one thing before we go over to Beneath the Surface, which is to do what?
Share the live?
Yes.
So
share the live. Happy International Men's Day.
Happy International Men's Day.
The Tobago Day Awards 2025 are here. Celebrating excellence, dedication, and the people and organizations making a lasting impact on our island and its diaspora. From the Medal of Honor to the Diaspora Award, this is your chance to nominate those whose service, leadership, and achievements deserve the spotlight. Nominations close on September 30th, 2025. And remember, only online submissions will be accepted. Visit www.tha.gov.tt to submit your nomination today. Let's celebrate our Tobago Trailblazers together.
The Health Hygiene Lounge is a family-friendly space designed to support the health and dignity of women and families. It features two main rooms. The first is the Menstrual Health Room, an educational and service-oriented space that promotes menstrual health, equity, and empowerment. The second is the Breastfeeding Room, a private, comfortable environment for nursing mothers. Together, these rooms reflect our commitment to maternal and child health,
I am thankful that this facility is now available. It really does provide a space for breastfeeding mothers to come here, whether with baby or just to pump during the workday and do that in comfort. Is a need, and just having this space makes it so much easier and provides that peace of mind.
I think this hygiene lounge is a step in the right direction. I think for a very long time women have not had the opportunity to have a space that's private to deal with issues of menstruation or breastfeeding. So I think it's a step in the right direction, and I really think that is something that should be adopted across the board through different divisions and private sector throughout the
This space is more than just four walls. It is a place of dignity, a safe space to speak, to learn, to advocate. It represents a commitment to stand in the gap for those who are too often unseen. Together, realize our efforts, streamlines our objectives, and align our outcomes. By doing and towards a comprehensive solution that an end to stereotypes, education, and period poverty once.
Opportunity for us to show that we truly understand the needs of our growing families and are able to provide the kind of comfort that would make them happier.
That was a production of the Department of Information, Office of the Chief Secretary, Tobago House of Assembly.
The Tobago Day Awards 2025 are celebrating excellence, dedication, and the people and organizations making a lasting impact on our island. From the diaspora, nominees whose service, leadership, and achievements deserve the spotlight. Nominations close on. Remember, only online submissions will be accepted. Visit www.tha.gov.tt to submit your day. Let's celebrate our Tobago together.
You're viewing Tobago Updates You're to Tobago, broad beauty island paradise to the world.
Tobago Updates.
It's a brand new morning, rise up to a brand new dawning. As the passion start to rise, the energy fill the skies. I say thanks for favor to wake up and hear me neighbor. 60,000 people strong, and the vibes is never wrong. We are beauty, we are power, we are people in the sun. We are beaches, we are rivers, we are melanated ones. We special and there is no denying. Tobago is number one. I am you and you are me. Together we stronger. Good morning, Tobago. Good morning, Tobago. Good morning, Tobago.
Good morning, Tobago, and welcome this morning to Beneath the Surface. Straight talk, no chaser. Our guest this morning, Assemblyman Dr. Faith Brebner. She's also the Deputy Chief Secretary and also the Secretary for the Division of Health, Wellness and Social Protection. She's also the area representative for Goodwood, Glamorgan. Bell Garden, Glamorgan. Bell Garden, that's the one. Bell Garden, Glamorgan. Bell Garden, Glamorgan. Good morning and welcome to you.
Good morning, good morning. Actually, you're not wrong because it used to expand all the way to Mount St. George and we changed it. Well, EBC changed it. Good morning.
Yes.
Thanks for having me. I'm finally here.
Always a pleasure to have you on in your bright-eyed and bushy tail this morning. So I guess we're ready to jump right on into things.
Certainly.
All right, so let's start off by talking about some of the core values that, I mean, you started, this is a four-year review. All right, you're looking at throwing your hat into the electoral ring again, not contesting anyone or no one else in your electoral district has gone up for screening against you, which, you know, speaks to...
So I'm a little humbled by that. I look at myself, or I look at what we do as always being, or there's always opportunity for improvement. So I am happy that I don't have to fight too much for the seat in terms of having to be screened against anyone else. And I'm actually humbled that, you know, at least the other members of the party thought that I was probably doing a decent enough job that they didn't think they needed to put their hand in the ring to contest against me. I'm thankful for that. I am humbled and thankful.
I love how you put that. I love how you put it. Now, let's talk a little bit here about your core strategic vision for Tobago's health and wellness sector when you entered office 4 years ago, and how would you evaluate your success in achieving that vision today? Are you close? Have you reached that goal?
Listen, let me go back a little bit to just highlight the fact that when we were in opposition, the things we saw from the outside was very different to the actual reality. You know, we have these grandiose ideas and these grandiose plans of what will happen and what we will do and how we will function and all of that. And then you come in and then you are hit with resource constraints, hit with individuals who are not having the same thoughts as you and therefore not going in the same direction as you. You are then hit with the fact that police running up in your house and you have to treat with all of those. So I say that to say this. I actually say to my colleagues that given everything we've come up against, we need to give ourselves a little bit of grace and to give ourselves a pat on the back, excuse me, a pat on the back as well, because
you've also had to deal with COVID.
We also came in the middle of COVID.
Yes.
We had to deal with all of that. And yet we have been able to accomplish and to deliver quite a lot to the people of Tobago. And I say that from my perspective at the division, but I say that from the perspective of the Tobago House of Assembly as well. So when I came in, if you asked about my philosophy deals with systems and how systems work. And I firmly believe that if we put all of the parts together to create a functional system, then the interpersonal interactions. And what do I mean by that? Dr. Faith, we're here in the hospital and we have to wait for something. Can you do something about that? Dr. Faith, we applied for a grant and is 6 months now, we ain't hear anything. Can you do something about that? In my mind, or Dr. Faith, garbage backing up by my house. Can you do something about that? That kind of interaction where I have to inject myself into the system functioning shows that it is not functioning the way it should. So
and I think you need to say that another time so that our viewers can actually grasp what you are saying.
I am trying to build a system that does not need my individual
that can
function and functions
independent of
exactly, and functions independent of me having to interject at any given point. That is what I've been trying to build, and it is taking time, because you have to do almost like a root cause analysis. I mean, yesterday I actually had a meeting with some of my social protection people, and we are talking about why is it taking so long for us to do these things? Why is it taking so long for a client to come back with their ID card? And you know, we're doing why? And when we get to the root cause, we then have to ask, do we really need them to come back with the ID card, or can they just WhatsApp the card to us?
Come on now, go ahead, Dr. Faith.
You know, let's think about it that way.
Yes,
let's think about it that way. Can they really let them just WhatsApp the card to, you know? And then the officers would say, but doc, you know, we ain't have no phone again. Why? Get to the root cause, treat with the root cause, and then allow the system to work. So that is how I have actually been working within the division to ensure that the different components of the division, and the division is relatively large. It's the health component, which treats with the policy direction for the Tobago Regional Health Authority, which is the arm that provides our health care services. It is the social protection part, which is the social network, where we provide the grants and the counseling and the mediation and the parenting and that kind of stuff. And then there is the wellness part, which is the public health part, the garbage collection, the ensuring that your water is safe, ensuring that your food is safe. Those three areas, which in Trinidad, by the way, is 3 different ministries, falls
but
under,
all three fall
under the jurisdiction of my leadership. So and you will now see why it is important for us to figure out how the systems work, because it is almost impossible to have a system that does not work and still provide services to the people of Tobago. That's my philosophy, systems that work.
And I'm glad that you raised the issue of systems that work. Now, this was a question that I had for a little bit later on this morning on the program, but digitizing the health system. Now, other countries, and let me just throw in here, I have shared my story publicly. One of the things that I'm privy to, I have to say blessed with, because I didn't go looking for this. However, is when I go in, I present my card, and whatever hospital I go to,
the
information is readily available. How close are we to getting there? So that you don't, we have no missing files. You can't find, the file was here, 2 hours later it's gone missing. How close are we, or how far are we from getting there?
So I really wished that at this point I would have been able to make some grandiose announcements. But I am also a very practical person. We are, again, in the process of expanding. So let's look at it from the 3 different arms of what I do, because we are in different phases in those 3 different arms. As it relates to healthcare, we currently actually have a level of digitized health service provision. What do I mean by that? When you go to the pharmacy, if you recognize your prescription, even though the doctor writes a prescription, when you go to the pharmacy, they go on their computer, they search their stuff there. That is actually partially digitized. That's why they can print the label for you, and they could actually check to see what other medicines you are taking, even if you didn't tell them. Because that's an entire large digitized system there. The lab is also digitized, meaning once you get the results, that is put into a system. The part that is not digitized yet is the actual patient care, the doctor or nurse interaction with the patient, where your medical records is not digitized just yet. I had a meeting where the CEO of the TRHA, I had a meeting, when was that? Sometime earlier this week, and that had to be yesterday. Today's only what? That had to be Monday. Yes, Monday. And he says very casually, oh yes, remember the digitization, and remember the $10 million that we need to continue with that. And the administrator and I started laughing, because we were like, sir, you say $10 million as if it is $100 you're asking for. And he said, yes. So the $2 million that we got last financial, we're working with that now, but remember we need the next 8 to continue that process. And that requires, for example, now we would need to purchase devices for everyone. Now we would need to go back to the program that we already have, and say to the suppliers, build in these other components so that we can do it. So that is at a particular stage. Public health, we are working on what the...
Before you go on, I'm glad that you were able to share that, so that the public does not think it's as easy as hiring staff and just putting it into the system.
It is definitely, and that is one of the things I had to learn coming into it, recognizing how much work it's actually required to do these things. The other part is public health. So, for example, part of what we do are the food badges. We are now actually working through what the law says as relates to food badge. What can we actually do digitally? What do we require? Because remember, we are working with some old laws. What do we require the actual public health inspector to sign? How are we working through that? Because we also want to digitize that process. But we need to ensure that after we digitize it, the thing that you get is a legal thing because we followed the laws. So we are now actually doing a full desk review of what the laws say to probably make recommendations to amend some of those laws for the Tobago House of Assembly so that we can move forward with the digitizing of some of those public health services, even if they're not ready to do it in Trinidad. Social protection, that is a sore point for me. And let me be honest, that is a sore point because that is one where we were ready and gung-ho and ready to go. And we actually got funding from a UN agency to start the process of digitizing social protection. But the then Minister for Digital Transformation heard that we were doing it and stopped the program. Yeah. Stop the program.
This was under which administration? Previous administration?
Previous administration.
Okay.
They heard that it was happening, and I got a nice letter that says, we can no longer do this. And when you get the back end of the conversation, it is because the minister said, no, Tobago can't do it first. Yeah. I'm a little bitter about it still, yes. But we're working otherwise. And it was actually a UN agency that had already donated 50,000 US to pay the contractor that was in Singapore or Thailand or somewhere else to build out the actual platform so that you could be home and send in your ID card, on the phone, and my social workers would pick it up in the office, and then we would come and do the social working. We were already there, but here we are. Sore point. I'm not bitter. Yes, I am.
What is the current relationship between the THA and the ministry, central government within the health sector?
It is great. Let me be brutally honest though. I had a decent relationship with the last Minister of Health. He is one that could have called Sister Faith, Mr. Dial Singh. He was one that I personally had a decent relationship with. I cannot say the same for my colleagues and their other line ministers. Let me also, even for myself though, I currently have a really good relationship with the minister with responsibility for social welfare, which is Ms. Mohit. I did not enjoy that kind of relationship. Let me put it that way. I did not enjoy that kind of relationship with the former minister with responsibility for social welfare. And the Minister for Health, we communicate back and forth all the time. As a matter of fact, even when he comes to Tobago, it's like, hey, what are you doing? You know, come down the road. Let me lime a little bit kind of thing. So we have those kinds of conversations, those kinds of interaction. But I think what I recognized is there is a level of respect that we are experiencing now that we certainly did not experience before. And it is one that we are cautiously optimistic about, but extremely happy that it is happening now. There seems to be a situation where the government of Trinidad and Tobago understands that they have these core responsibilities. The Tobago House of Assembly has these core responsibilities, and the only way for them to provide all of the services to the people of Trinidad and Tobago is to work with and respect the Tobago House of Assembly. And that is something we are really, really, really happy about. And it is something that we absolutely did not experience when the last administration was there.
Okay. Looking back, what were two, maybe you can share with us, just about two most urgent problems you inherited in the health system, and how effectively were they addressed during your tenure?
So when I got there, I recognized that a big chunk of our problem dealt with diagnosis. So you cannot treat if you don't know what you are treating. Yeah. And when I chatted with the TRHA, the biggest issue is we did not have the equipment to do the diagnosis, which is why we purchased the CT scan, which is why we did all, X-ray machines are being purchased. Those are the things that are needed, because it is a big chunk of why when you get to A&E, you sit there for hours and hours and hours, because even if we trying to figure out what is wrong, the methods to figure out what is wrong are few and far between. So we needed to bulk that up so that we could provide the service. As a matter of fact, while coming in this morning, I got a picture of the construction work that is currently happening at A&E in Scarborough General Hospital. And that build out again is to create a space within the A&E segment that would allow you to come in immediately, be seen by a doctor immediately. And then that doctor will say, so you have a real emergency, go inside one time, go so. You just bounce your toe. You could wait a little bit, but by the way, even though we're saying wait a little bit, we're not telling you sit down back outside. There is a route on the other side for us to take care of that by the time. So when you come in, it's either true emergencies or a lower level of emergency that we could take our time to treat with you there. Again, looking at the entire system and how it functions. So the work that is being done at Scarborough General Hospital now is to facilitate that. It's not just a cosmetic shift.
What sort of wait time? Because we're taking a break just now. What sort of wait time? Because you said it reduces the wait time.
So right now the wait time, by the way, the wait time internationally is hours still. So this will reduce it. I don't, because we're actually trying to measure it right now. That's the other thing. We've never really measured it before. We are actually measuring it now to see what our baseline is now, to then see how we can reduce it, or how much it will be reduced. So the data collection, to answer your question, is now happening.
What is it currently?
The data collection, to answer your question, is now happening. Right now, it is based on anecdotal information where people say to me, I was there for 5 hours, or I was there, but we don't have the actual data outside of that anecdotal thing to say, well, this is what it is right now. And that is what the system is actually now in place, where people know that once a person comes in, you have to record their time so that we can actually measure how long did it take for Miss X to come in and leave.
Okay, now that was just one of the inherited issues. We're going to come back to the second one just after the break. Viewers, this is Beneath the Surface, straight talk, no chaser. Join us just after the break.
It's a brand new morning, rise up to a brand new dawning as the passion starts.
We waiting so long, the people miss the bacchanal. Tobago. The countdown is on for Tobago Day 2025. From November 27th to December 6th, the island comes alive under the theme, One Tobago, One People, One Destiny.
The celebration begins with the Tobago Torch Run, led by the Chief Secretary, Assemblyman, and our proud sporting groups.
Then, on November 28th, the THA Triathlon takes center stage. On November 29th, we all head to the Shore Park Recreational Grounds for the Tobago Games, Sports and Family Day, games we used to play from 6 p.m.
Join us on December 2nd for the Thanksgiving Harvest Service at the Shore Park Complex from 10 a.m.
Bring your Tobago produce, share your blessings, and celebrate community. Then, December 3rd and 4th, discover our roots on the Scarborough Heritage Bus Tours. 2 daily departures at 9 a.m. and 1 p.m.
On December 4th, witness excellence at the Tobago Day debate beginning at 10 a.m. at the Assembly Legislature.
And the Tobago Day Awards ceremony, 7 p.m. at the Shore Park Complex.
And for the grand finale,
December 6th, the cultural concert and drone show lights up the Scarborough Esplanade from 7 p.m. It's all about Tobago Day 2025. One Tobago, one people, one destiny.
Are you in a dispute with a registered investment service provider of the TTSEC? Or maybe you're the victim of an investment scam? You can lodge a complaint or submit an anonymous tip to the Trinidad and Tobago Securities and Exchange Commission. Download our Investor Protection app or go to ttsec.org.tt to access our complaint form or submit an anonymous tip. Write a clear summary of your complaint. Submit copies of supporting documents along with the originals for verification. Provide a copy of the feedback received from the entity regarding your complaint. All investor complaints or scam reports submitted by the public are acknowledged and reviewed by the TTSEC. Investigations are pursued based on the outcome of the review. Trinidad and Tobago Securities and Exchange Commission, protecting the interests of investors and the public. You invest, we protect. Everyone benefits.
Viewers, welcome back to Beneath the Surface Straight Talk, No Chaser. We're still chatting this morning with Assemblyman Dr. Faith Brebner. Now, just before we took the break, we were asking her to share with us maybe two urgent areas or two urgent problems that were inherited by the Division of Health. Now, she did share one. What was the second one? What would the second one be?
Right. So if that relates to health specifically, I think the other thing that we had was a backlog of a lot of different things. So if you recognize, we have the cataract reduction surgeries, because we recognize that there were a lot of people showing up with cataracts. Cataracts is a relatively easy thing to cure.
But what can account for is there a rise?
There isn't really a rise. Remember we had come out of COVID. Remember during COVID, we were not doing any elective. Cataract surgery is considered an elective surgery. No, let me not say there isn't a rise. There is actually a rise, and we actually think that it is being linked to the other non-communicable diseases, the high blood pressures, the sugars. Those things are kind of affecting your eyes as well. Again, kind of anecdotal information pulling them. So we did the cataract reduction program as one of the areas. We also did a Don't Fear the Smear campaign, which we did some, pap smears and so forth, because we recognized there were a lot of women who had not had pap smears for
years.
COVID. You had some who did it and they didn't get the results 3-4 years later. We were like, okay, yeah, let's pretend that didn't happen. So we actually did. So we recognize that there are a lot of different areas like that where there was quite a bit of backlog, and we started implementing specific projects to get rid of those backlogs so that we could bring it up to speed. And I think those two things were some of the two, I wouldn't necessarily say most critical, but those two things are things that we specifically worked on to improve for the people of Tobago.
So what is the time now? So between screening and report?
The time now, I don't have the actual timeline. You see, when you ask me that, I think about it from a research perspective, which is data and not necessarily anecdotal. The last thing I heard is that we did not have a backlog on reporting for pap smears anymore, because we had done that, and the people were getting appointments for like mammograms and ultrasounds and those things in a much shorter period. And let me look into the camera. Tobago, if that is not true, if there are women there who are waiting and you're waiting, 494-8827, 494-8827, message me and let me know, so that we could figure out whether that is actually working the way they tell me it's supposed to be working. This is why my phone always in my hand.
Right, because you're always on the go, sleeping with it on the bed as well, according to her. Now, the issue here, screening, the time between screening
and
results.
So the time is usually between screening and results is one thing. One of the things we also recognize is that there was a time between when you got the referral letter and when you got the actual date to be screened. That is what I think they've told me that has come down significantly to just a matter of weeks. And that's why I gave my number, because if that is not true, I want people to call me and let me know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, and that you'd say that is an improvement.
That is certainly an improvement, because when we got there, there were people who did their samples were taken, and this was 3 years later, and they hadn't gotten a result yet. So weeks versus years. Although ideally it needs to be days, is what I would like it to be eventually.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about Dr. Faith before she was Dr. Faith and before she was Assemblyman Dr. Faith. What were some of the things that you were involved in? Was it all health related?
It was not all health related, as a matter of fact. So when I went to school, Roxborough Sec, I love to start there. So I went to Belgarden Preschool, where my mom was a teacher there.
Mhm.
So I went to school at 2 because what else? Yes, and she taught almost everybody. She did. I then went to Belgarden Anglican School, where, you know, all of the teachers there were amazing. I still interact right now with Miss Dick and Miss Bonus and all of those. If you know those names, you know those are old school foundation, proper teachers there. Proper teachers. Then I went to Roxborough Secondary School. At the time, we were doing zoning, meaning it didn't matter what school you quote unquote passed for. You went to the school that was closest to you. And that was a wonderful experience to me. That is where I did PAN. That is where I did cadets. That is where I actually really got out of my shell. Yes, I was a cadet.
Things we never knew.
Yes, I was a cadet. I loved playing PAN, and that is what got me into playing with Eastside, because I started playing with the school and then transitioned over to playing with Eastside. So yeah, I was 15 going down on the boat with Eastside to go Panorama. So when you see me jumping up with Panorama now, it's because I've been doing that.
PAN is in your blood.
PAN is in my blood. And by the way, the PAN tent literally in my house.
Well, yes. Yes, if you know, you know.
If you know, you know. Right. So there's that. And then when I left Roxborough Sec, I went to Signal Hill for sixth form, because there was no sixth form in Roxborough. And then I went to the University of Pittsburgh. You know, we were joking during the break, when I was doing my dissertation, which had to do with HIV infections in Tobago and what were some of the issues surrounding that. The thing I actually did to make a little bit of money was actually work at the bakery. Yes, Breb's Bakery. Back then, I used to wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning, go down in the bakery.
And this is, just to be clear for viewers, this is your family-owned
bakery there. So
that is located in Belgarden, Eastside Tobago.
The best bakery on the island. And I'm not even being biased. It is the best bakery on the island. Yeah. So I would actually get it, because, you know, I am here collecting data for my doctoral dissertation and all of that. And I needed to work. I needed to be able to make money. I needed to get transportation to come from Belgarden to come to town. So I would get up at 4 o'clock in the morning, go down in the bakery, put together the pastries. So, you know, for the jam tart to become a jam tart, you have the pastry dough, and then you have to fill it. My job was to go down there early in the morning and fill all of the things. So put the beef in the beef pie, put the jam in the jam tart, leave it, and then by the time I left at about 7, some of the other staff would come in to just put it into the oven so that you would get it baked fresh and early.
So you were exposed to responsibility at a very early age.
Yeah, certainly.
So you know what it is to work hard.
Definitely. And 4 o'clock was 4 o'clock.
4 o'clock was 4 o'clock. Rain, hail, sun or storm.
I mean, granted, you literally had to roll out of bed and roll down the road, but 4 o'clock was 4 o'clock. And it was part of, you know, me continually learning that, nothing is for free. You have to work. You're not getting a free ride. Make it. And I can't even remember how much money I was making per day, but it was enough to get me from Scarborough to town, from Belgarden to town, when I needed to, because it was what I needed to do at the time. And then, of course, interacting with the police youth clubs and all of the other community groups has always been what I do, particularly since my background is in health education. Well, my background is behavioral health, and health education is a big component of that. I really spend quite a lot of time doing lectures with the police youth clubs and churches and all of those things around anything health, all things health.
Yeah.
So like right now, I see the police youth club posting memories of 8 years ago and 9 years ago, and there I am with the boys and girls, you know, because we just did a lecture on HIV, or we just did a lecture on diabetes and that kind of stuff. So those are the things that I did before becoming the actual secretary and actually getting into politics.
A little background there. All right. Now we want to talk a little bit about what's been happening at Roxborough. Roxborough has been having raving reviews with regard to services, their time, etc. Give us an idea. 'Cause, I mean, is it now that Roxborough is the flagship? What is happening? Scarborough, is Scarborough being neglected?
So what you are experiencing is what happens when we are able to develop the system from ground up. Remember, we're talking about systems.
Yes.
Yeah. At Roxborough, we were able to build it from, and when I say build, I don't mean the structure, because the structure was built by the previous administration.
Your administration inherited
the plant.
Yes.
Let me quickly include, though, the fact that the plant that we inherited was not purpose-built for a hospital. It was actually built as a glorified health center. So the reason it took so long for us to get to hospital status, because you realize we started with the health center services,
yes,
and then we added a little bit of A&E, and then we started adding clinics, and then we started adding a place where you could actually sleep, building it up like that. It's because we recognize that to get the certifications that are required for you to have a hospital, we had to do quite a bit of breaking down and building back up. So, for example, the pharmacy, there are specific requirements for pharmacy, for lab, for those areas. And when we went in, when the people who had to come from the pharmacy board and whatnot came in to look at it, they were like, that is not the right size. We need to add a hood there. We need to do this here. So we had to go in and do quite a bit of refurbishment to fit it into what is required by law, which is one of the reasons it took so long for us to get to this point. But we, at the very onset, with Dr. Nathaniel Duke's leadership up there, and you know, the entire team that worked with him from the get-go, they instilled in a kind of, this is Roxborough, this is how we behave in Roxborough from day one. So you ain't coming in and misbehaving. You're knowing before you even come through that gate, this is how we behave in Roxborough. Patient satisfaction is critical for us. Even the security guards know.
Yes.
You are a security guard. Yes, you're probably working with whoever security company you're working with,
but you
this
represent,
is how we behave in Roxborough. And you see that because the system was developed that way from the beginning. And that's why whenever I hear any little thing slipping, I call Dr. Duke one time. Dr. Duke, what is this? Nip that in the bud one time. Don't allow that to fester at all. So that is why you are hearing those kinds of reviews, because we are building it up from the ground.
Now, we have excellent doctors, nurses, and staff at Scarborough.
Everywhere.
Everywhere. And of course, you've got the rogue. Yeah. You've got the rogue element.
Yeah, that's everywhere.
Here and there. I mean, not very many, but you have the one or two.
But then remember, it goes back to the systems. So, for example, when I chat with the doctors at A&E or the nurses at A&E, and they say, Dr. Faith, we want to do it faster, but it ain't have no X-ray machine. What do you expect them to do? If it ain't have no machine, it ain't have no machine. Where you have to call from outside, or you have to call to borrow the one from up in the water to bring it down to do the X-ray. And then they now have to interact with the public who does not understand those kinds of limitations. So you've realized that, you know, they were being blamed for poor service, but it was not the individual doctor or nurse. It was the system that was not accommodating of good service. And that is why we've been looking at all of those core pieces to pull them together.
What would you say is one major drawback, one major challenge within the hospital system, as well as one major accomplishment?
Let me see, one major challenge, and I would say not hospital, but I would say in the health system.
Health system.
One major challenge is the fact that the health centers were not also equipped and structured to prevent as many people from going to the hospital. That we are also working on right now.
So building up the health centers.
Building up the health centers, ensuring that it has the category of staff to do urgent care stuff, so that somebody knows that I don't have to go up to Signal Hill, or I don't have to go to Roxborough. I can go to Belgarden, or I can go to Pembroke, or I can go to Mount St. George, because we know the category of doctor that is there. And that is part of what we are doing right now, where we just reworked, in essence, the structure of who is at a health center, so that we can improve that. That will then prevent the host of people from having to go up to Signal Hill and go to Roxborough by A&E, and then that frees up the resources at the hospitals to allow the doctors and nurses and other staff there to do what they need to do.
How many health centers do we have within
we have,
Tobago?
20? We have 19 or 20 health centers throughout the island, which, by the way, is, if I'm brutally honest, too much. Because a part of the problem is we don't have the staff to actively manage each of those health centers the way they should be managed.
So what are we saying? Are we saying in the future closing?
So I wouldn't say closing. What I would say is we would redesign what happens at the health centers.
Okay.
So right now, for example, we have Keenan, Bacolet, and Roxborough having enhanced health centers. We are currently refurbishing Charlottesville so that Charlottesville will also have an enhanced health center. If you know, for example, that no matter what time you go to Roxborough, Canaan, Bacolet, and soon to be Charlottesville, if you know that every time you go there are doctors there are nurses there, you can get pharmacy there, you can get all of that. And you know that, for example, if you go to Delaford, you're not going to get that. You know that if you are going to Delaford, you're going to Delaford for this particular thing, because what you need is at Delaford. What is at Roxborough is better than what is at Delaford, or different to what is at Delaford. Those are the kinds of shifts we would have to make so that we are able to concentrate the staff that we have in key areas.
So specializing
those services so that we can do more wellness stuff at the other health centers. So you may be coming to the health centers, the wellness health centers, to get your blood pressure and sugar tested, to have a little exercise session outside, to do that kind of stuff instead of coming for the traditional medical stuff.
Are there currently doctors at these, staffed at these health centers?
So currently we have, you get a full cadre where you could actually have a walk-in service at Canaan, Bacolet, and even at Roxborough. So Roxborough, even though it's in the same building, Roxborough provides two services. The hospital services, so if you need A&E, you could get that at Roxborough. And if you come in the front, if you just need your blood pressure taken or anything like that, you could go to the health center side of Roxborough as well. Again, we are refurbishing Charlottesville, and Charlottesville will be able to give you that kind of enhanced service as well.
So, all right. We're coming back just after the break. We're coming back to the services that are currently offered and what is not being offered at the Roxborough Hospital. As well, how would you grade Tobago's progress in controlling chronic diseases like diabetes and hypertension, two of our biggest killers? Dr. Faith is going to address those issues when we come back from the break this morning on Beneath the Surface. Straight talk, no chaser.
The Caribbean is more than just a place. It's a spirit, resilient, vibrant, and full of possibility. Rooted in connection, driven by community. It's who we are and the heart of everything we do. For over 150 years, we've been right here, invested in the Caribbean, its people, and its progress. And today, we're going even further. Liberty Business, rooted in the Caribbean, committed to you.
Coconut's Cafe, the buffet restaurant that specializes in all your tasty local dishes for breakfast and for lunch. Breakfast includes coconut bake and sada roti, served with chokers, buljoil, and sausages in tomato sauce. Not forgetting beef and cheese pies, shepherd's pie, macaroni pie, and rice in various styles. Meats served in a variety of flavors, garden salads, and pasta salads. All this accompanied by fruit juices, coconut water, your choice of a great combination to appease your taste buds. So call us today to order, as we are here to accommodate your busy schedules or if you are having a cooking day off.
MI4 Security Services Company is the most advanced security service in Tobago.
Ask about our cash and transit service. It's safe, risk-free, reliable, and timely. We provide safe banking delivery for all business types and sizes with highly trained staff, 24/7 monitoring, coordinated emergency response, and a well-maintained fleet of armored vehicles. Contact us at 660-7723 or visit our website at www.mi4securitytt.com to sign up today.
We waiting so long, the people miss the bacchanal. Tobago. The countdown is on for Tobago Day 2025. From November 27th to December 6th, the island comes alive under the theme One Tobago, One People, One Destiny.
The celebration begins with the Tobago Torch Run, led by the Chief Secretary, Assemblyman, and our proud sporting groups.
Then, on November 28th, the THA Triathlon takes center stage. On November 29th, we all head to the Shore Park Recreational Grounds for the Tobago Games, Sports and Family Day, games we used to play from 6 p.m.
Join us on December 2nd for the Thanksgiving Harvest Service at the Shore Park Complex from 10 a.m.
Bring your Tobago produce, share your blessings, and celebrate community. Then, December 3rd and 4th, discover our roots on the Scarborough Heritage Bus Tours. 2 daily departures at 9 a.m. and 1 p.m.
On December 4th, witness excellence at the Tobago Day debate beginning at 10 a.m. at the Assembly Legislature.
And the Tobago Day Awards ceremony, 7 p.m. at the Shore Park Complex.
And for the grand finale,
December 6th, the cultural concert and drone show lights up the Scarborough Esplanade from 7 p.m. It's all about Tobago Day 2025. One Tobago, one people, one destiny.
TNTech is pleased to advise that its Roxborough Service Center has reopened. Starting Monday, 10th March, customers can once more visit the Roxborough Administrative Building to pay TNTech bills, request new connections, and more. TNTech, powering the nation into the next generation.
Viewers, welcome back this morning to Beneath the Surface. Straight talk, no chaser. We're still chatting this morning with Assemblyman Dr. Faith Brebner. And just before we took the break, the question was asked, how would you grade Tobago's progress in controlling chronic diseases like diabetes and hypertension, two of our biggest killers?
If I'm honest, we aren't doing as great as we should. When we look at the numbers of people who are getting sick, if you recognize, there was a couple months ago, we had to do emergency mode at the Scarborough General Hospital, and we realized that was because we were getting quite a number of people coming in. They had these chronic non-communicable diseases. They were coming in sicker and therefore needed to stay in the hospital longer. It's actually one of the things we recognized during that period.
Which is a drain on the
drain on the entire health system and on the economy. So we aren't doing as well as we should. Now, the reason I want to say that is because those diseases are diseases that if we take personal, family, and community responsibility, we can actually prevent those things from happening to us. If we are the ones who need to get up and exercise, and I know that is not as easy as it sounds, but it is fortunately or unfortunately, your exercise and your diet are the things that help in those regards. So I am actually pleading again to the people of Tobago to help us with those. instead of, and this is a simple thing, literally don't use the elevator unless you absolutely need to use the elevator. Walk up the stairs, walk up the 2 flights of stairs. We have buildings in Tobago. We don't have very tall buildings in Tobago.
No.
The building that my office is in may be the tallest building we have on the island. I walk up the stairs to go to my office.
How many levels is that?
It's 4 or 5. I walk up and I come down. The only time you would see me in the elevator is if somebody is literally upstairs waiting for me or if I have a lot of things. Just take the stairs. If you actively decide to take the stairs every time you go into a building with stairs, you are already doing something to help yourself. Those are the little things that we are encouraging people to do, and that way the burden on the health system is going to be less. As a matter of fact, in the budget recently, the greatest increase to any single entity within the Tobago House of Assembly was actually the increase to the budget to the Division of Health, Wellness and Social Protection. The bulk of that is to go to the Tobago Regional Health Authority. To do what? Buy the MRI machines, build out what we are doing with A&E, work on the oncology unit that we want to build up at the Palms. That is where the bulk of the money goes to. And let me quickly jump in here and indicate that most people don't recognize, because when we go to the hospitals, we don't have to pay anything at the point of service.
Right.
If you are employed, you would recognize that the health surcharge, which is what a minuscule, probably $5 or $8, less than $10 most of the time per week, comes out from your salary, which is minuscule. As Secretary with responsibility for health, wellness and social protection, since I've been in this position, I have had to authorize giving the Tobago Regional Health Authority no less than $40 million every month, Ria, for it to function. The CEO is down my neck saying, Doc, we just hired 760 new people. Doctors, nurses, allied health people, administrative people, sanitation people. That 40 million you're giving me in working. We need at least 45. If you could give me 50, please, please, please do. A month, people. That is what it actually costs to run the health service that we have right now. And it is because people keep getting sick that we have to keep expanding. So do all your partner, take the stairs, at least take the stairs.
To help reduce.
Yeah.
Now, Newton George on the live is asking, and we were coming to that, and I thank you so much for throwing it in. Dr. Faith, could you address the scenario with the ambulance for the people of Tobago? Now, quite recently, there was an issue where a foreigner, a visitor to the island, there was a scenario, and I know you spoke to it, but for those who may have missed it, the report. Yeah, and the report indicates that there was a 45-minute delay.
Remember we talk about systems? Yeah, this is part of it. So this is what happened. When I became Secretary with responsibility for health, wellness and social protection, I don't know if you remember, there was a year, maybe the day or two before Christmas, where I announced that we were going to lease ambulances, because we literally had one functional ambulance in the system.
And there was an issue with regards lease as opposed to purchase.
Now, the reason we had decided to lease is because the act of purchasing coming out of COVID has been a difficult process. Difficult because, one, the companies that actually sell full-scale ambulance in the international markets, they were providing services, or they were providing supplies for companies that were purchasing 100 ambulances. Little Tobago, and we can afford 100 ambulances. So all we wanted was about 10 kind of thing. They weren't even watching we. They didn't even care what we say, because that is like, you telling me you coming to spend $1 when I have somebody by me willing to spend $1 million. So we had to figure out how to go through that process, which we've been doing. We went through a rigorous procurement process, which included several rounds of sending out RFPs, people submitting their quotations and their specifications and so forth. We are actually at a point now where we have a supplier, and the supplier has been delivering ambulances for us on a phased basis. So we got four recently. We recognize, and I actually just started doing a question and answer session with Chrislyn, where we are giving information, talking about the fact that I just realized that we have sulfur in our diesel, Ria, and the sulfur in our diesel is actually causing the engines of the new ambulances that are so high tech to try to protect itself, because it is seeing the high levels of sulfur as an impurity, and it is therefore saying, okay, that ain't good for me, let us slow down how the ambulances work and so forth. So we are actually now learning, in essence, from these 4 new ambulances that we got, some of the issues that we have on a different level on the island. But I am sending out little videos for those things, which we are calling Facts First. I launched one yesterday, another one came out last night, to hear a lot more about that. Ideally, we need about 12 ambulances on the island. And until we get our own fleet up to 12, we will have to keep one, continually trying to fix the old Ford ambulances that we have. When we came, those ambulances were literally at the end of their life, and we are continually fixing them to try to keep them up. We will keep leasing ambulances until we need it to. Those are the red and white ones that you see. I think Universal is what is written on them.
Yeah.
We'll keep leasing those, and as we get the shipments from the suppliers, we will then phase out the others, because the aim is to get to at least 12. We order the 12 ambulances, and they are coming at a phased basis. They are coming in a phased basis.
All right. But with regards to that 45-minute delay.
Yeah, it was because at the time the other ambulances that were on the island were out to other places.
How ready are we as we enter this cruise ship season? I know all systems have to be on go, but healthcare is one of the major ones.
Yeah.
We have visitors coming to our island. What are some of the checks and balances that need to be in place? Are they in place? And where do we stand with regards?
So doing
their readiness.
That kind of assessment in terms of how many people are on the island versus how many ambulances and other systems are in place is one that we are continually managing. And it's one of the reasons, even though we had thought we could have stopped leasing the ambulances that we are currently leasing, we decided, for example, for October Carnival, we're spending the money because there are people who are going to come to the island. Let us spend the money to lease those ambulances to ensure that we still have the service in place. And we will continue doing that. I had a conversation with the chairman and the CEO recently where we agreed we're going to keep leasing the ambulances. We will even lease more if we need to ensure that when we do that analysis every couple weeks or so, that we are in the right place until we get the brand new ones that are coming to us. Again, this is why, again, the CEO is telling me we need the 45 or the $50 million every month, Doc. And he comes such a smile-loving, calm gentleman, but every time he opens his mouth is money. Money. We need money
to get the job done.
Get the job done. Exactly.
What would you say is one major accomplishment that you have been able to achieve within your 5-year tenure?
Yeah. I would switch from health. And I would say
so it's not on the health?
Well, there are many, but we've been talking about health all morning. We've been talking about health all morning. But I would switch to social protection, because what we have at the Department of Social Protection are a host of top-class professionals who are there to provide the softer kind of support that the island needs. And when I say it's an accomplishment, one of the things that I recognized was happening when we came in was the fact that we had all of these little units that were working in silos, doing their own thing, not necessarily communicating with each other. And the kind of support we were providing to the people on the ground was not coordinated. We came in and we did a full structure Department of Social Protection. And we actually started grouping entities in a way where it now makes more sense. And we are able to now think through, how do we provide the counseling that someone needs? How do we provide the mediation that the family needs? Even if the person came in and asked for a food card, how do we do the appropriate assessment of that person to realize that they said food card, but what they really need is, yes, the food card, but they really need counseling. They really need somebody to sit with them and to help them redo their CV so that they can get a job. They really need the REACH grant because they actually have a wonderful business idea that we could give them the $15,000 seed money to start up their business as part of the REACH program. And it is recreating the system under social protection to be able to truly serve the people who come into us, I think is one of the biggest accomplishments we've been able to do. It is softer. It is not, you don't hear the noise about it out there, but I specifically wanted to identify that because we have some of the best social protection staff on the island. My entire team, they are amazing. I'm sure you never hear nobody talk about they went to counseling by health and their business was on the road. You know why? Because we have the best therapeutic counselors who understand that confidentiality is key. And that kind of stuff, even though it does not cost a lot of money, even though, you know, you don't get an opportunity to brag about it because we can't talk about a lot of the things we do. I think reworking it in a way that is actually working a little better now has been a significant accomplishment.
All right. Let's talk a little bit here about the allocation of this time around. Tobago has received the largest allocation ever. And I know there's a plan to spend the money.
Yeah, listen, the money done
spend.
The money done spend. Money done spend. So let me explain what is happening. So what we've had is the biggest allocation directly to the Tobago House of Assembly, which is a 5%, 5 point something percent of the budget. And there are monies allocated in ministries in Trinidad that will be spent in Tobago. If you know me, you know that I cuss about that for all of them years before now. I cuss about that because if it's we money, give away money in Tobago, please. The difference now that it goes back to the understanding and this newfound respect, mutual respect. I can now say, for example, that when the Minister of Health speaks about doing improving cath labs for the country known as Trinidad and Tobago, we have already started working through how we would improve the cath lab in the Scarborough General Hospital, and part of the monies that are allocated to the Ministry of Health would definitely be spent in Tobago to ensure that Scarborough General Hospital has a cath lab. Before now, I could not have had that conversation with you. I did not know when the Ministry of Health was spending money in Trinidad for Tobago, what were they spending it on? We now have that kind of relationship where we could identify these are the specific projects that are going to be done. This is how we could collaborate. It doesn't necessarily make sense to give us the cath lab money when you order in cath labs for the five regional health authorities. You know, let us include Tobago in that as well. So it is that kind of collaboration that is working for us. We have key priority projects. So the Tobago House of Assembly, we had our prioritization retreat a couple weeks ago where we all sat around the table. I came with my wish list for health that says, you know, these are the things I would like us to accomplish in health. All of the other divisions came with their wish lists.
That's the one. That's the one.
And we agreed that we will restrict some of our recurrent funding spending, meaning we may not necessarily buy the new vehicle that we were planning to buy for the division. We may not buy the new computer that we were planning to buy. We were restricted so that the Tobago House of Assembly would get at least $500 million to spend on these projects that we have agreed collectively are our priorities. So we have quite a number of those at health, big number ones, including, and I think you would probably be interested in this. When we acquired the Palms property next to the hospital, that is the property with the villas next to the hospital.
Yes.
We acquired that property with the aim of using those villas for specific things. One of the first one we are going to build out is to be able to move the oncology unit from up the fort into that property. So we are going to actually build out a proper oncology center in one of those villas so that we don't need to send ours. Well, so that the current unit can move from where they are in the very, very tiny space up the fort.
We've seen some improvements even.
We've seen some improvement there.
At the oncology unit.
But even that is not as great as it needs to be. And we also want to be able to provide services so that we don't have to send our patients to Trinidad, to St. James. So that is what we are building out now. That's one of the bigger figure projects that we want to build out start this year to see if we can move oncology so you have a proper space to come and do your cancer-related services as well.
Okay. No, and I mean, this is all looking forward to another term. How has this term been for you? If you were to describe this term or title it, give it a movie title, how would you title this first term in office?
Movie, I don't know about movie, but I would say it is learning. Because we had to learn the system. We had to learn the things that we are able to do. We also had to counter with this new thing called procurement and the procurement legislation. It was a period of learning, and now that we have learned quite a bit, I hope that Tobago gives us the opportunity to now grow and to grow even further than we've been doing. So it was definitely a period of learning, and I appreciate it. There are a lot of things that I did not know, a lot of methods that I did not understand, that now, given that we have settled a little bit, given that I don't think police coming in my house again for any stupid reason, we can now take our times to sit down and think through and execute these learnings that we've gathered.
Now, God, you mentioned their procurement, and there have been some challenges with regards that. How have you been able to navigate?
So with procurement, we just have to read the law and ensure that what we do is within the law, but that it is purchasing the things we need to do, purchasing the things we need to purchase within that new legislative framework. We have some really good procurement officers that help guide us through that process. So it's just a matter of us. It is what you have to do.
And the timing.
What you have to do. It just takes a little longer to do everything, but that is even built into the law. So, for example, when before you could have done an RFP, get companies decide that this is the company that's doing the project and run with it, there is now, for example, a built-in standstill period where we know that company X got the contract, but we have to wait 2 weeks to make sure no other company can come and say, hey, or let's stop. That is built into the procurement legislation now. So that delays things quite a bit, but we're just learning that we have to plan a little better. Now that we know that those things are going to be inherent, let us plan it a little better and take those timelines into consideration.
All right, and we really want to ask. I mean, we did ask a little earlier on, in terms of some of the goals. But should you be successful for that second term, what are 3 of your top priorities?
3 of the top priorities. So let me speak about something that I want to do in the division. I actually had not in the division, in the districts. I had a conversation with the secretary with responsibility for food security recently. And one of the things that needs to happen down Bell Garden Bay is to create a slipway. You know what is a slipway? It is a little, it is almost like a little jetty that the boats can ride up.
Right.
So it is something like what is in Roxbury, I think. It has a slipway where you could actually pull the boats from the sea up onto the land.
Yeah.
Right. So doing something as simple as that, it is costly, but it is simple to do for the village of Belgarden, for the fishermen in Belgarden. That's one of the projects I really, really want to be able to focus on within this next term, if I am allowed to be there. And I hope Belgarden Glamorgan gives me the opportunity to be there to do that. What else? Continuing with the digitization, because that is something we have to do. We have to get away from the paper. The manila files. I walked into accounts 2 weeks ago, and the accounts every room I went to had files stacked because the storeroom that we had was full.
And overflowing.
So doing the digitization is definitely one that we need to work on as well. And I think that oncology center is one of the big ones that we definitely need to pull off. That one is near and dear to the entire administration's heart. So that is one that we definitely need to pull off this next term.
All right, and if you were to give yourself a grade, because we've asked all of the assemblymen, if you were to give yourself a grade for your performance over the last 4 or 5 years, what grade would you give?
I would say between an 8 and a 9. So let me stick with 8.5. That is a safe thing.
That would be what, a B?
Yeah, a B. I would say a B. Because there are quite a number of things that I wanted to accomplish and we just couldn't. We didn't have the resources to do it. But I will still say give ourselves that high grade, because when you look at all of the opposition that we came up against in that period, the fact that we were able to just ignore the noise, buckle down and do the work in the middle of all of the distractions, I think is one that we need to commend ourselves for being able to do that. And I would actually credit the leadership of the Chief Secretary with that one, because in the middle of all of it, he was very, very clear. We cannot allow these political things, our partisan party issues, to affect how we govern the island. Or you get up in the morning, put on all your clothes and go in the people work for me, please. Do your job.
Regardless of your political
affiliation, regardless of all of the bacchanal that was happening, regardless of all of the upheavals that were happening, do your job. Tobago people elected us to do the job. We are doing the job. Cry, wipe your tears, put on your suit and come in the people and then work for me, please.
What has been your major regret?
My major regret? I don't know that I have a regret, I don't know that I have a regret. Somebody asked me, I was chatting with Mr. Nathaniel Moore yesterday. He came to my office. He summoned me. Yes, please come.
You go running when you're summoned by
him. He called and said, Dr. Faye, do you have time to chat? I said, Mr. Moore, let's meet tomorrow. Yeah. Yes. And, one of the questions was, do I regret coming into politics? And the answer is an honest no. I love what I do, even in the moments when it is hardest, even in the moments where I joke to my staff and I tell them, I could go and work KFC, right? Because I'm sure I could fry chicken. Even in those moments,
more than that, but go ahead.
even in those moments, I still go back and reflect and think this was a wise choice. Do I have regrets? Not about this. Not about this.
Okay. Now looking forward, and again, you're looking forward because you've definitely thrown your hat into the ring. So we know that you're looking forward for a second term in office. Now, what would you say to the people of your electoral district? Why should they vote and give you another opportunity?
What is required to be an area representative is having connections with people and interacting with people to help them problem solve. And that's been a chunk of what I've been doing. Let us work through what is the issue, how can I help? In many instances, it is not even me doing anything. It is literally us walking through the steps to get you to your final destination kind of thing. And I think that if the district is honest, they would recognize that I have been able to do that for quite a number of them, for the district collectively. Yes, there are the infrastructural things that need to work on. Listen, when I drop in the pothole, them I just cost Trevor too. Yes. So I understand that there are those challenges, but those are resource related challenges. Those are, if we had a $10 billion budget, yeah, we could fix all of those things. But even without being able to fix those things, I think the district recognizes that I am one of those people who've been with them even before I became area rep, and I just continued doing that. And as you know, my door is open, and we will continue working together to ensure that we really build, going back to the original tagline, child by child, family by family, village by village, because that is really what we've been working on doing.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Faith Brebner, Assemblyman Dr. Faith Brebner, for chatting with us this morning and for going a little bit deeper into some of what you do. All right. So we say thank you again for taking the time. Tobago, thank you for joining us this morning. And we're looking forward to tomorrow and Friday as we continue chatting with members of the present or the current administration, getting some insight into their background and allowing them to account for their 4 years or so in office. Now, have a great day and stay safe, and we'll see you tomorrow. So be blessed. Bye-bye.